Hey, what's up, everybody? Davey Crocko. Welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's doing well. Digging the music. Yeah, it's a little Halloween synth, I think it's called. I think that's what they call it. Hope everyone's doing well, though, on this Monday evening, Monday, November 9th. We've had a beautiful night in upstate New York. It's still a great night, but it's been we hit like 70-degree day. Now tonight we're just gonna have a little fun. No one take anything too serious. We're gonna dig into a little NASA project called Sofia. Um, I heard about this the other day through an article about them finding water on the moon, and there might be some lives on the sunlit side of the moon. Just understand that we don't need to get in the shapes of the Earth. We're not getting into if the moon is a hologram. We're just going to have a little fun with this NASA project. And I'm going to break it down into which will be the Nephilim, the fallen angels. Might even have some time for some ancient Freemasonry and some sound technology, which will kind of bend its way into this project that they're trying to tell us that's called Sofia, which is, of course, NASA, the serpent, always going to have its roots in Greek mythology. With Sophia being someone that gave great knowledge to Solomon. If you guys know anything about Solomon, or if you don't know about King Solomon or Solomon's temple, or how Solomon's temple was built, it was built with sound technology. That's, if you sound out what Solomon means, sol would be sun, would be a sound, and then on would be a literal on, like the light would turn on. And this may explain some of our ancient architecture that we're always asking about, the Tartarian topics, the ancient architecture that's unexplainable. How did they build that in those days? Well, vibrations and sound technology. These are things that we might want to explore when thinking about those kind of things. So maybe we'll be able to blend all of those in together. And I thought it'd be a fun kind of stream. Now, I'll add in a couple other just weird things to talk about beforehand. And if we have time afterwards, depending how I'm feeling and chilling, we might get into the Watcher story. Although it doesn't really have much to do with what we're talking about. Or we'll add that Watcher story to the next spooky show, which will involve the Doomsday Mom, Lori Vallow, who killed her 2 children and 2 ex-husbands and is in a Mormon cult, and it's a pretty crazy broad. So that's going to be a fun, spooky Sunday. That's going to be like a good 2-hour fun spooky Sunday. That'll be the next one. Tomorrow night we have the Midnight Crockpot with Wild Smile and myself, as always, every Tuesday night at midnight. Episode number 20 is tomorrow. Next week we have... trying to think of how this worked out. Monday evening, myself and Vanessa will be doing a show. Vanessa Valentine. We did a coffee with Crocko and Vanessa. We were going to do a little later on because that's how the time worked out, but I'll be with Vanessa next Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Myself and Fringe Files are working on a stream together, and then obviously all my other solo streams that we do during the week. So if you guys like any of that work, please check out the channels, check out the links in the description. There's a link right now in the description for the Discord. If you hit that link, you will always be notified of just the latest of what's going on and what's up with our community. So yeah, go check that out. I'd like to ask if anybody can take 2 seconds, maybe a half a second, and leave a like. That would be very helpful. And if anybody would like to donate to the channel and help out the work that I'm doing, links are in the chat and the description. Streamlabs and PayPal are the easiest, and I can read your chat on the screen for everybody to see. Now, it's a Monday night, late night. I don't expect to get our normal 300 viewers, but I like to have a little fun. All right. Let's see where we're going to start. Let's just start with, what the fuck are these things? These will be the new toys for the next Christmas season, guys. Dolls with masks. Do it yourself. Face mask for your dolls. Pin on dolls. Look at these things. These are the new, make sure you pre-order them for your children for the holiday. Make sure they get their masked Barbie. I mean, dolls are creepy enough, but, I mean, what are we doing here? The Pandemic Collection. Make sure you get your Pandemic Collection. Okay, I'm not even gonna make fun of that picture, but this is how they introduce you to a new normal. Yes, even the teddy bear will have his mask on. So indoctrinate the youth very early. This is the Barbie collection with them all wearing their little masks. It's quite beautiful, isn't it? Way to indoctrinate those young children. Just thought you guys would but don't think it's gonna end there, because, you know, if corporations are going to take advantage of the shopping public, they're gonna make sure they have a slew of coronavirus toys, to these plush coronavirus, what they tell you the quote-unquote pandemic virus looks like, that you can play with the plush toy of the virus, get Yoda with a mask on. Ooh, what is that? Like that glue stuff or whatever they call it that the kids play with. You can make it into little coronavirus viruses. Oh, nice. You can get your own collection of heroes, as they call them. Frontline heroes with their masks on. How lovely. This is beautiful, guys. Yes. Thank you, heroes. So, trust me, they're going to be capitalizing, as they always do, with the latest toys being coronavirus toys. And I just find this humiliating and disgusting. And just disgusting. But you'll see these coronavirus heroes Matchbox cards, action figures, and Uno cards honor frontline workers. First responders and other essential workers continue to get the hero treatment in the latest wave of Mattel toys depicting frontline personnel in the corona pandemic. A new fleet of Matchbox vehicles, mega construct building sets, and a special edition of Uno. Alright, you never need a special edition of Uno. You just need Uno, and you don't even need Uno. You don't need it. Building sets, I don't even know what that would mean. Matchbox has literally, they're just throwing out anything. Thank you, heroes, cars, rescue vehicles, a police vehicle, which is already in their set. But every single one of them dons the thank you heroes, even the dump truck. Here's those special hero cards. He-Man, the strongest man in the world, yet he has to wear a mask. The frontline worker, thank you. Thank you, frontline worker, for everything you've done. Just in time for the holiday season. Surprise toys could be in short supply this holiday season because of coronavirus. So make sure to stock up on your coronavirus toys because the regular ones might be out of stock. Just thought you guys get a kick on that. I just like, why would you even need to do that? Linda, very good to see you. Very good to see you. Very good to see everybody. Why would you need to do that to people? I mean, come on, guys. We're better than that. Don't get your children coronavirus toys. Oh, what other weird stories could I bring to you before we get into Sofia? I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Sofia, so I'm going to have to explain it a little bit. Then I'll get into the Greek mythology of it. The only other channel I saw when I was doing my research was Woodward TV, so I'll have a clip from him. We'll get into fallen angels. I'll explain to you what Sofia means in Greek mythology. Then we'll talk about the Bible and fallen angels and what this means. It'll all come together. I think you guys will enjoy it. Let's see here. Came across this headline today, guys. You guys tell me. Lawyers can't find parents of 666 migrant kids, a higher number than previously reported. Last month, lawyers ordered to find migrant families separated by the Trump administration said they couldn't find parents of 545 kids. Today, they say 666. Now, this wasn't some random article I found from a few years ago. This article came out today. November 9th. That's today, right? Well, it's the 10th now, but yeah, November 9th. Lawyer working to reunite migrant families separated by the Trump administration before and during its zero tolerance policy at the border said it's unable to find 666 kids. I mean, we know what happens with these migrant children. We know what kind of slave camps and who they're sold to. So the number 666 just has that perfect connotation when you think about it. You need to understand why would they use that number? They couldn't have it 667, 665. No, it's a message. Immigrant kids, 666 kids not reported, lost, means they're sold off, means they're going to the highest bidder. They use codes like this in places like NBC News to coordinate with each other, because 545 missing kids, yeah, we still know where they go, but 666 is a direct message, and the mark of the beast has many connotations right now. I saw some donations came in, so I will definitely read those as I move on in the stream. Yeah, how crazy is that? I'm going to try to be interactive with the chat as I'm doing this too. I know with how they do it right now. What's up, Brian Bowman? Good to see you, man. With how they do the live streams now, you start the stream on your OBS, and then it takes about 30 seconds to start the stream through YouTube, so it feels like it's like a tad behind a little bit. I'm trying to get this so it's like I'm in the middle of the screen here. Don't need any Vox Day squeaks on my chair here. I gotta tighten a few screws, but I got a few screws loose, so what am I gonna do? Oh, Tata Drach, good to see you. Just K, always good to see you. Linda, as always. All right. Like I said, we're not gonna draw 300 tonight, but I think they're gonna miss out because we're gonna have a fun little stream here. Okay. Let's get into Sofia. Oh, not yet. Let me show you a little something. We all know about the Simpsons and what they predict, right?
Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It's the 7th.
Wrong link. Give me 2 seconds here to make sure I got the right timestamp. We all know about the Simpsons and how they predict the elections. Well, I think this one perfectly got us here. I don't know if anyone has seen this clip from the new Simpsons, but this is them and their prediction for the, I don't know what they're calling it nowadays. Could it be the new normal, our new presidential normal, our new coronavirus pandemic lockdown normal? We'll be getting into a lot of that on the Midnight Crockpot tomorrow.
This is the Simpsons right here telling you what's coming, and everyone's wearing a mask. You see that? Isn't that beautiful? And Marge tells Homer to vote, etc., etc. Well, here's the deal. This is what happens when Homer. What happened?
No coincidence. Got the owl, Molech, just on his forehead.
When
Marge wearing the mask.
Homer falls asleep or whatever.
So we have Marge, and then we have Inauguration Day 2021. Looks like we have a mass just collapse of society. Looks like we have some kind of drones that are coming in to take over the city. That looks like a Department of Homeland Security logo on these drones. How apropos for this situation. Yet, in an apocalypse scenario, everyone still has their masks on. Now, we all remember Simpsons famous for the 9/11 pre-programming with Bart Simpson, and he was reading the pamphlet with the 9/11 with the two towers years before it happened. We all remember Trump on the elevator. We all remember Trump holding the globe with the Saudi Arabian prince or whatever leader it was. Who gives a shit? A towel head. He was hanging with the towel head. He had his hand on the globe. So they always love their pre-programming. And then what do you know it? Pestilence, which would be a virus. They're coming as hard as they could ever with the second wave right now. They're saying it's ramping up like never before, guys. It's ramping up like never before. Famine. People are going to go starving because with a second lockdown means more and more businesses are going to fail. More and more people are going to lose their jobs, and employment has already ran out. And then the playing card of a Biden presidency will be a war with either Syria or Iran. So, looks like as their pale horse with the virus makes its way through, looks like the Simpsons are right on target with what they do best, and that would be pre-programming. Let me see if I have one more thing before we get into Sofia here. And this was just a weird one, just to kind of explain Hollywood a little bit.
Well, first of all, congratulations on the movie. I enjoyed it very much.
Oh, thanks.
You guys remember the famous Bob Dylan video that everybody shows and all their Illuminati mashups of how they sold their soul to the devil, and he says, I signed the deal. I can't tell you with who, and you guys all know the Bob Dylan video. It's famous. I think somebody's asking me about Trump and what I think if he could regain or something. I don't know. I guess I don't care. It's one party. It doesn't matter. Just at this point, I think all signs lead to Biden winning. And I don't think it's the media shaping it around people. I think it's just, there's going to be some rigging, some voting fucking fraud that's obviously going to be able to be found out. But I think they want you to know that they can blatantly out in the open do this. But I have a lot more deeper thoughts on that, but that stream is not about that. If you guys want to check out my stream from earlier, I went a little more in depth on that. And tomorrow night on the Crockpot, I will definitely be going into details on that. Let me see here if there's a message here. Looks like chat's on screen. Donation from my boy Brian Bowman. I don't see a message on here, but I'll check Streamlabs. But through PayPal, $50 from my man Brian Bowman. Thank you so much. Every dollar helps in these times, so $50, man, I really appreciate that. Thank you, Brian. Long time supporter of the channel, and I really do appreciate that. Thank you, brother. I'll let Streamlabs load up, and if there's a message, I'll make sure to get it. So we all remember that famous Brian Dillon video, and I just caught this the other day randomly, and I thought it was funny on just an insight, just an insight of how rich people are, and it kind of shows you how controlled they are.
Also, what was the first thing that you bought with your first paycheck?
Now, he's going to have a very confused look on his face about never having a paycheck. And he's literally going to say, I don't know where my money comes from. And, like, it's a really, really weird thing to say from... But you'll understand what I mean. You guys all know the famous Bob Dylan video.
Well, it's funny because the first time I did The Godfather, when the film was over, I owed $15,000.
All right.
Yeah. So I never saw a paycheck. I saw someone who served me with a summons because I owed a studio a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I do remember not having any money when I went to do the picture.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean not having any?
Well, I didn't have any money. I didn't have
money, yeah.
money in the bank or anything. I just had the film, which was great.
Yeah.
But I don't remember a paycheck.
Well, you certainly
Maybe
do
I'm
now.
lucky that way. You know, I've not seen a paycheck my entire career, but things just keep happening. You know, I get clothes, I get a house, but I don't know how that happens.
Yeah.
I get clothes, I get a house, I've never seen a paycheck, but things just keep coming my way, but I don't know how that happens. Sounds like a controlled celebrity in my books. Now, it's not Bob Dylan, I signed a deal with the devil, but it pretty much explains how these high-level Hollywood actors work. They're a controlled... They're a controlled product. They're just told where to go, what to do, what to wear, where to live, and how to act. They're actors. So, yeah, it's very funny to me that he said he's never seen a paycheck, but things just keep coming his way. I live in a house. I don't know how I got there. These clothes I put on, no idea where they came from. Did someone seriously just ask if Al Pacino is in The Godfather? Wade Watts, I like you, but I might have to time you out for that question. And you can go days and days with those. We've all seen the compilations of those videos. Most famous being the Bob Dylan video. But let's talk about Sofia a little bit. That's what I named the stream. And this might not be the longest stream ever. You know, we might go an hour and a half, hang out with you guys. If you guys don't mind, if you got a half second and you could leave a like on it, I'd highly appreciate it. For some reason, it helps bringing other people in and getting attention to the channel, which is going to be helpful going through the winter as I plan to do a lot more streaming full time. As my hours lessen in the winter, I'm going to have a lot more time to stream, so you guys are going to see a lot more different things. Crockpot, every 3 weeks, me and Vanessa are going to get together for a show together. You're going to have Spooky Sundays coming back. You're going to have my solo streams 5 nights a week. Yeah, and some other things in the works. So I got a lot of stuff coming up for you guys. So, yeah. Any likes you can leave and any support to the channel is highly appreciated. But what is Sofia? I'll give you the standard, what they say. The Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy, Sofia. This is through NASA, the USRA, the DSI. It's not the secret space program. So it's a 747 wide-body aircraft that has been modified to include a large door in the fuselage that can be opened in flight to allow a reflecting telescope to access the sky. This telescope is designed for infrared astronomy. Observations in the stratosphere at altitudes of about 12 kilometers. So it's about as high as you can fly up right before the barrier to space, so they can look up into space with quote-unquote satellites and telescopes. I don't know. They told me for years there were satellites all over the place, and they could see anything, and they could already look at the moon. But I guess those satellites just don't work in these scenarios, and all the ones on the ground just can't see anything. But who are we to say? I guess they know the realm a lot better than us. But yeah, it's just this thing that they're using, that they're going to be looking at the moon, and they have a telescope that's on there, and take away all the other things. We're not talking about shapes of Earth. We're not talking about what the moon is and if it's real or if it's a hologram. Or we're just going to talk about what they're presenting it to us, and then I'll get to the weirdness in a little bit, which is going to be way more weird than any shape you can think of. The telescope looks out a large door in the port side of the fuselage near the airplane's tail, and initially carried 9 instruments for infrared astronomy at wavelengths of blah blah blah. The main instruments are a flight cam, a near-infrared camera, covering a mid-infrared range of 5 to 40 You think they would want to explain that to us? On April 17th, 2012, 2 upgrades to it to make it have better polarization, and a transition edge sensor biometer is a device for measuring the power of an incident electromagnetic radiation via the heating of a material. So basically, how they want to sell it to us, and if you see a picture of it, you can see right here, right in the middle, is that fuselage that opens up where the telescope is. No wings on this thing. It's just very weird looking 747. You would think a satellite would suffice, but for some reason, with all the satellites we have, they need this new 747 with these capabilities. But who are we to question the serpent that is NASA? So Sofia returns to flight studying galaxies. So it's looking at all these galaxies around the world, guys. It's gonna give us new images and all these new things that we've never seen before. The standard from NASA, but just like everything with NASA, they never tell you what's exactly is going on. In June, Sofia's annual deployment to Christchurch, New Zealand, was deemed not feasible given ongoing concerns related to the pandemic. So weird that their only annual deployment is to Christchurch, New Zealand. Just another weird thing that's in there. The team will explore distant galaxies to learn how black holes control the galaxies. Yeah, how many times are they going to tell us about black holes and not know anything about them? It's a manless craft. Obviously, it just It's on a pre-programmed schedule of where it goes to. Like I said, it's a 747 jetliner modified to carry this 106-inch diameter telescope. So very powerful telescope to look in on these things. I'm just giving you the background of it just to do it. And about 5 years ago, they released this information, and then they re-released it in a live stream. And I'll get to that in a later video that Woodward put together. But this was what they're telling you they did. NASA found traces of water on the sunlit surface of the moon. Discovery was made by using Sofia. The water was detected in a crater. So a large crater in the moon's southern hemisphere visible from Earth. So if it's visible from Earth and we already have satellites in the sky and telescopes on the ground, why would they need this 747 to do this? There's other implications behind it, which we will get to. So the standard, they found water. They found water on Mars. Could there be life? Now, what is Sophia? Well, Sophia is the goddess of wisdom. Sophia, or Sophia, in Greek, chokmah, means all mean wisdom. The god's female source of true power is Sophia as goddess of wisdom and fate. Wisdom and fate. Her faces are many: black goddess, divine feminine, mother of God, the Gnostic Christians. Sophia was the mother of creation. Very important. Mother of creation. Her consort and assistant was Jehovah. Her sacred shrine, Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, is one of the 7 wonders of the world. Her symbol, the dove, represents spirit. She is crowned by stars and a Middle Eastern icon to indicate her absolute divinity. Sophia is found throughout the wisdom books of the Bible. There are references to her in the book of Proverbs and in other books of Sirach and Wisdom of Solomon, found in the Greek Septuagint of the early church. So she gave wisdom to Solomon. Wisdom 9:8-11 tells us that Sophia instructed Solomon in building the temple. Now remember, Solomon, soul, sun, sound, on, light. It's exactly what it means if you break it down. If you break down the etymology of that word. Om is a sound. Om is a vibration. This is the vibrational technology that the ancients used to build all these extravagant buildings. If you wonder why can't we build the pyramids today? Why can't we build this ancient, however you want to call it, Tartarian architecture? This stuff that was built in the 16 and 17 and 1800s that you've never seen before. That can never be built today. Oh, it was a sound vibrational technology, and not a sound that anyone can do. Not a sound that you can recreate. It had to come from the original source. There was an original source of Freemasonry or an occult that came across this knowledge. It dates back all the way back to Solomon. And we'll get into that. There's a book that explains this that came out in 1907 that explains this ancient sound and how they used it to build this technology. Weird enough for you yet? It gets a little stranger. So let me give you just a little more points about this. Sophian Gnosticism, feminine figure analogous to the human soul, but also simultaneously one of the feminine aspects of God. Gnostics held that she was the Zizgi, female twin divine aeon of Jesus, or the bride of Christ, the Holy Spirit of the Trinity. She is occasionally referred to in the Hebrew equivalent of I'm not even going to read their Hebrew interpretation. Sophia is the lowest aeon or anthropic expression of the emanation of the light of God. She is considered to have fallen from grace in some way, in so doing, creating or helping to create the material world. This is when we're going to get into the Nephilim and fallen angels a little bit, and I'll explain to you what they're actually doing with this project, because I do not believe they are using this project of Sophia when we have all the tools to do this already. I don't think they're using this to find water droplets on the moon. I think this is a plan to make itself to the moon, to boost itself to Mars, and offer to what we would call the fallen ones a woman astronaut. There are only 7 eligible women astronauts that would be able to make that trip at this moment. But I think just like with the sound technology and the vibrational technology they used to build these ancient architectures, I think they also want to recreate the fallen angels. I think they want to offer up a woman to the fallen angels and have them come down as they came down before and came into the women of this earth. If you guys are familiar with the stories of Genesis, the world's soul is a woman, the Gnostic myth of Sophia. Have you ever heard of Gnosis, or the Gnostics of old, often associated with early Christianity? I know you've heard of Mother Earth, since we're all riding around on her all the time, or of Mother Nature, or Gaia, whom we all love. Long ago and even today, people knew better, and the knowledge they had and have was kind of a secret knowledge, or a cult, called Gnosis, from the Greek to know. Although it's often conflated with early Christianity, Gnosticism isn't a religion, but rather a way of being in the world, a path to self-realization and integration with a more profound sense of reality. The myth of divine Sophia. In Gnostic myth of how the world works, Sophia, the feminine personification of wisdom, lives happily with the spirits of light and the unified limitless potential of her father's radiance, created by the twin powers of depth and silence. She's so dizzy with love for the creative source that when she's the brilliant shimmering light below, she flings herself down into the darkness, mistakenly following what she believes to be her father's radiance, fooled by the mere reflection. There, in this abysmal, unrealized potential of the world, she is trapped, separated from light, the spiritual realization of Gnosis, or knowledge, or occult knowledge, the knowledge of transcendent unity. They always say the goddess of wisdom. If you've heard of the gorgeous woman in Michelangelo's painting on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, the one that God has his arm wrapped around while his other arm extends to the hand of Adam, some art historians believe Petite Blonde was Jehovah's grandmother, the goddess Sophia. So this woman with his arm around her, that's Sophia. So we're not talking about some random mythological figure known of mother of all or simply of wisdom. Sophia was born of silence according to Gnostic creation myths. She gave birth to both male and female, who together created all the elements of the material world. Very important. Now, I know this is a little weird. I know you guys have come to my streams to watch other things, but sometimes I like going into these topics, and I hope you guys enjoy them as well. Someone said, why not solo man? That's just not what it means. It just, if you break it down, it's just not what it means. Soul always means sun, especially in the ancients. It's just, soul is always sun. There's other interpretations, but through my research with the vibrational technology of how they had to build these structures that they can't build today, they had to use some kind of sound technology. So I think the Om is the actual sound Om. And I think they had some kind of secret occult knowledge of this sound of how to build these buildings where they could literally, if you've heard about it before, but they could literally levitate these or almost envision these buildings before they made them, and the bricks would just fall themselves into place. Now, Tina P says it's Son of Man. Everybody has their interpretations. I'm just giving it to you how this is through my research, this is my opinion. I'm not telling anybody else they are wrong. I'm just giving you my opinion. So please don't anyone take this as disrespect to their opinions. I hope we can be on the same page there. Someone says Coral Castle comes to mind. This is also gonna be one of these spooky Sundays. Coral Castle. Someone says putting me on the list like AOC if I don't agree with this video. I think I just said the exact opposite. It's a weird comment, but good to see you, Dallas, as always. Now, I have the articles pulled up, but there was a video that was done by Woodward TV who has the same exact articles that I pulled up, and he kind of explains the fallen angel aspect to it. And maybe you guys have not seen this yet, so I'm gonna play a clip from this and kind of intervene from time to time with some other things, and then I will add in. I'll get into the Book of Enoch and then some full ancient texts. Just give me 1 second here. I want to make sure I have all my links open. So if you guys hear something for 1 second, I apologize. All right, two seconds. And then we'll get back to Solomon's temple, as Sofia advised him to build Solomon's temple. All right, 2 seconds here, guys.
What they announced never really feels like an authentic discovery. It feels more like a disclosure of something they already knew. Does that make sense? Now, if you haven't heard already,
Keep the chat
NASA
on the
has
screen.
announced the discovery of water on the sunlit surface of the moon. From what I understand, this was done via teleconference from the Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy. NASA to announce new science results about moon. NASA will announce an exciting new discovery about the moon from the Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy at a media teleconference at 12 p.m. Monday, October 26. Audio of the teleconference will stream live on the agency's website. This new discovery contributes to NASA's efforts to learn about the moon in support of deep space exploration under NASA's Artemis program. The agency will send the first woman surface in 2024 to prepare for our next giant leap, human exploration of Mars as early as the 2030s. Understanding the science of the moon also helps piece together the broader history of the inner solar system. What they discovered is, of course, water molecules on the lunar surface using an advanced in-flight moving observatory called Sofia, or Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy. I hate to always pick on NASA whenever they open their mouths, but there are a few things here that I want to discuss and that you may find interesting as well. The very first thing I noticed with this is, and you can all tell me if I did something wrong or overlooked something, but I had a difficult time trying to find this media conference. I mean, their own website takes you around in circles. I was just looking for a simple recording of the live streamed media conference that you would assume should be in your face the moment you go searching for it on the site. That's why I'm asking, did I miss something? Wasn't that kind of an important conference? Anyway, I gave up and listened to it on someone else's YouTube channel. And see, that is what this is all about. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just didn't see it on their site. But if I'm right, this is definitely the type of thing that causes some people not to trust them. Were so spread out that they could not freeze. So they estimated that there's about 12 ounces of water per cubic meter of surface soil.
So what they want you to believe is they put on a 4-hour live stream major event of something they've already told us 4 years ago about finding water on the moon. And now they're just re-releasing that information by adding the exact amount of ounces of water. Now, does anyone here believe that they built this Sofia with this Greek mythology just to re-explain that they found water on the sunlit part of the moon that satellites and telescopes that we already have could see, if satellites are actually real and up there? I doubt it, and I think there's something more to it.
Which is very little. With this discovery, they plan to somehow use the water as a resource, because as of right now, astronauts have to take water with them. And that much water is heavy and expensive to launch. And that's it. That is really all the information they had on this or presented, even with half of the conference devoted to a Q&A. After learning more about this and after hearing the conference, I somehow do not believe that the discovery of water on the sunlit surface of the moon was the purpose of this news. I think this was all about the elephant in the room, which is this new observatory called Sofia. I mean, how many of you knew this thing even existed before now? That they already have technology that can see evidence of organic molecules on an object out in the Kuiper Belt. The object MU69, this is a minor planet they call Arrokoth. A snowman-shaped object they are calling a planetary...
They'll make you, NASA just will make you believe anything. Oh yeah, there's a snowman-shaped planet out there, guys. Don't worry, don't worry about the heavens. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about God. Don't worry about creation. Even though we're really trying to recreate creation with all this mythology we put into everything, and all these projects that we put into always have some kind of ancient mythology that goes back to creation, and we want to push you away from that, even though we embrace it at every step. But let me show you this snowman. Let me show you this snowman fucking planet. Unbelievable. Now, I need you guys to know, I don't believe in any of this shit. But I thought it'd be an interesting stream, especially when we get into some of the... he kind of reiterates one of my thoughts of... I think one of their plan is to bring a woman to recreate the fallen angels. As you guys may know, I'm sure some of you guys are very familiar with Genesis 6:1 or 6:1-4, in which the sons of God take human women for themselves, and the sons of God came into these women, and this is how they created their kind of offspring on Earth. I'm sure you're very familiar with the Nephilim and the fallen angels. The Nephilim were in Earth in those days. There were giants in days of the earth. When the sons of God came unto the daughters of men and bore children to them, the same way were the mighty men that were of old, the men of renown. This is the story of the Nephilim. I think they're trying to recreate this scenario by getting a woman astronaut to the moon and then to Mars, and then trying to recreate some kind of fallen angel scenario, just like they're trying to recreate and find the sound again for that vibrational technology so they can build like they once were able to build.
Body right now, until they, of course, get more data.
And you guys can just all call me a complete weirdo. It's all good.
All these capabilities they are supposed to have, and we are supposed to be impressed by an airplane with a telescope on it that can see water on the moon. New Horizons scientists have also seen evidence for methanol, water ice, and organic molecules on the surface, a spectrum similar to some of the most extreme objects we've seen in the outer solar system. Now you're probably wondering, is the name Sofia just an acronym, or does the name have any historical significance? Of course it does. This is NASA we're talking about here. Of course they are going to pay homage to some Greek.
Ooh, quick shout out to Zara Lee. Love Zara Lee. $30 donation. $30 donation through Streamlabs. She said, thanks for the great stream. I just thought something different. You know, I can give you guys a stream of current events. I can give you guys a stream of my thoughts on literally any topic, anything. That's why we have these channels, that they can go all over the place. Nothing's off the table at any times. But I thought an interesting stream like this, whether you guys want to take it as myth, you guys want to take it as reality, you guys want to take it as a mix of both, please take it lightly. But have your own beliefs. This is just something I'm presenting to you.
Egyptian deity. They always do. Sophia is the goddess of wisdom, fate, divinity, the mother of creation. The silver background is drawn from Greek mythology, where Artemis's bow and arrows are silver. The woman on the moon, a portrait of the Greek goddess Artemis, is illustrated in the highlights and shadows of the crescent moon topography. Her features are abstract enough that all women can see themselves in her. See, I don't know what it is with NASA and ancient Greece. Well, I do know what it is, but it's either them or ancient Egypt. They also like to use the name Osiris too, right? So, what is this all about? What are they doing? Let me put this into perspective for you. They have 566 people who have flown into space. Of those 566, 64 of them have been women.
Come on, women, you guys gotta step it up. Only 66 out of 564. But this will explain the very small amount of women that would be able to take this trip, and why I believe that they're going to use one of these women to bring up and basically, hand over on an altar to the gods that they tell you not to believe in, but they for sure believe in. Everyone wants to recreate. Everyone wants to be a god amongst men. And NASA, with a billions and billions of dollar budget, and access into whatever we want to call space, whatever realm that is. And when I say the moon and I say Mars, I don't mean the moon and Mars that they taught us about. I'm just talking about going up into space and trying to reconnect. They're trying to recreate a scenario where the fallen angels would come down and meet one of these women.
In order to walk on the moon, you already have to be in the astronaut corps and have to have worked on the International Space Station. Right now, there are only 38 active astronauts. Of those 38, 12 are women. Only 17 of those astronauts, both men and women, qualified to walk on the moon. And of the 12 women, not all of them have been to the space station yet. So there is only a handful of candidates for this. Now, of course, this is a milestone for women and it will inspire young women. But with everything that is NASA, it kind of feels like an offering. You know, they all get to the moon and they go to this ancient altar on the moon. Oh, great God Apollo, look, we've brought you a woman. And she's just like, huh? I'm telling you folks, if you follow this, you will probably discover some very interesting things about this whole program, Artemis. Going to the moon, it's a springboard to get them to Mars. A training ground, really. NASA is funny. Hellenistic, I would say, in some ways. Artemis is the goddess of the moon and protector of young girls. Until they become married. Keep that in mind. There is much more to come, folks. Stay tuned. I could go on and on about this organization, but I think you have enough to go on for the moment. Look into it. Share what you find.
So Artemis, which is the female presence on the moon and protector of all girls, is the place they want to springboard to springboard them to Mars, and I believe springboard them to an altar where you see the Nephilim and the fallen angels be able to recreate like they did in the past, just like in Genesis 6:1. Now came about when men began to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them. The sons of God saw the daughters of men were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves, whomever they chose. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men, who were of old, men of renown. Satan instigated the plan, hoping to pollute the human seed to stop God's plan and bring forth a Messiah, the seed, promised to come one day and destroy. And I will put enmity between you and the women, and between you and your seed and her seed. He shall bruise you on the head, and you shall bruise him on the heel. And this goes to the fight of good and evil. And again, it always goes back. Sophia, literally, she is wisdom. Because Sophia means wisdom in English. More than that, Sophia is a wisdom deity. She has been revered as the wise bride of Solomon, as the queen of wisdom and war by Athena, by Greeks, and as the Holy Spirit of wisdom by Christians. She is known as Chokmah. Sophia is found throughout the wisdom of books in the Bible. It isn't any wonder that Sophia is constantly associated with the wise King Solomon. Now, I'm also going to pull up some text here. Give me 1 second. Now, what this text is, it's going to take a second to explain. But I will try my best. So obviously she encouraged him to build Solomon's temple. This is a book written in 1907, The Ancient Mystic Oriental Masonry, and teachings, rules, and laws of present usages which govern the order of present day. And in this book is references to the vibrational sound technology, guys, of how they built what they built, how they built Solomon's temple and many of these ancient structures that we have no idea how they built them and cannot recreate them today. So, give me 1 second here. It came to pass when the temple was completed that Solomon hesitated to dedicate it for 2 reasons. First, on the account of the death of Haram Abif. Haram Abif is the sound. That's what they called it back then. Haram Abif, that was the sound, how they built these structures. On account of the death. Second, on the account of the fact that with the death of the widow's son, the master's word and the secret manner of using it had been lost. So they lost the sound, they lost the word. Therefore, Solomon in his extremity called a secret council at the low 12 in the secret crypt under the sanctum de sanctorum. This secret council consisted of Solomon, king of Israel, Hiram, king of Tyre, Zodok, the high priest Benaiah, captain of the guards. After Solomon had deplored the loss of Haram Abif, the sound, the vibrational sound, and with him the master's word and the secret manner of using it, Hiram, king of Tyre, arose and reminded King Solomon that Nathan, the prophet, was still alive and might render some assistance in his present calamity. One person may know the sound still. There might be one more person to pass down his lineage, and we can teach it throughout the Freemasonry. Therefore ordered Benaiah, captain of the guards, to search out and bring before him Nathan the prophet. Benaiah, having ascertained that Nathan the prophet was at the house of Abiathar, a former high priest under King David, repaired to the place, but found that Nathan had died of old age, but a very short time before his arrival. He thereupon set about to return, and discovering a stranger wandering near the secret crypts, he thereupon took him into his custody and brought him before the secret council. A stranger proved to the Abdamon a very wise man, and the subject of Hiram, king of Tyre. Upon examination, it was found that he had been indicated as an entered apprentice, passed to the degree of a fellow craft, and raised to a sublime degree of master mason by Sison, a scribe, who had journeyed into the country. Abdamon, being a master mason and being recognized as a very learned and crafty man by King Hiram, was at length admitted to the secret council after giving it to the hands of King Solomon, a manuscript that had been given to him in a wonderful and mysterious manner by an Egyptian during the time. He was held in confinement by the secret council. Solomon was so pleased with the manuscript that he then and there admitted Abdamon as a member of the secret council which was then sitting. Abdamon in this turn felt himself so highly honored that he begged leave and received permission to journey into the land of Egypt and be indicated into the secrets of initiates of the Great Pyramid, and in turn promised to journey back into the land of the Israelites. So they literally held a secret council by Solomon, and they looked anywhere they could to find this word, this sound. It recognizes man as the living temple of God, that temple which was built without sound of hammer or noise whatsoever. It was a vibration. Now, this is thousands of years before Jesus Christ. You guys need to remember this when we're talking about this. It is thousands of years before this. But who do they mention? It recognizes the Christos, the Christ, as the living principle of the soul of man, and without which no one can be immortal. It has for its object the uniting mankind into a universal brotherhood, the exercise of benevolence, the practice of the arts, the practice of virtue, and the study of both nature and God as he is. The language, the word, the vibration used may seem strong, but we who know the work in these degrees must be the ones to judge as to what they are and what they contain. The degrees, starting with the first up to the 11th, teach all there of this religion. They give the key to religion itself. So this I mean, it just goes back to these ancient buildings. You guys have seen these a million times. I'll try to play a clip from this video. Island says the word is Om. Yeah, Sal Om An.
Temple was a cube, and a cube can be opened out into a cross. A cross, which you can. I covered it on Greatest Secret Never Told, and in the book, Flat Earth British book, Holy Grail of Flat Earth. Now, according to the Hebrew Bible, Solomon's Temple, also known as the First Temple, was the Holy Temple in ancient Jerusalem before its destruction by Nebuchadnezzar II after the siege of Jerusalem. Let's imagine this now. Phoenicians, as in a physical form, mermaids, mermen, etc., coming up from the water after the flood, watery people, a bit like Aquaman, occupying a new watery world, just rising up America because Europe's underwater, come from other lands, or were there people brought in from another place, and these Phoenicians are just a parasitical mindset or parasitical entity or entities locked in the memory of the water. So the Freemasons have looked after and scratched one another's backs for a long time, hiding reset information. I don't think Solomon lived all that long ago, guys, because, you know, there he is basically posing for his portrait. I'm thinking, you know, not vast of antiquity. Do I think he existed? Yeah, sure. Renaissance-y. And we talked about these. Now, they do look like they might be electrical circuit boards-y things, these sigils. Magical sigils. Protecting from sea storms, danger on ground and sea, that one gives you. So people buy them and wear them like, you know, sort of protection, etc. But it's sound, it's a vibration, isn't it? Coming out into the ether. Remember, it doesn't have to be spoken, this to work, just effect on the ether by it actually beating there. And there's another Solomon sigil. Now you find these in a lot of our consciousness, inlaid in everything. Even in railings, you see some of the...
Yeah, and these sounds translated always turn into geometrical shapes. That's why if you've ever altered your consciousness, you see an array of geometrical shapes, and sound and these vibrations can be interpreted as geometrical shapes. And that's why every time they have these writings around Solomon, it's in these geometrical shapes.
But it might be a visit from the Queen of Sheba. It's hard to say. Solomon and Sheba. Look at the size. Why did this building have no windows or fascias? You know, just massive, like a big massive chunk.
So the temple that was told for him to be built by Sofia, the name of the NASA project that's finding quote unquote water on the moon.
Bunker concrete
Might have a deeper
things missing
meaning.
here. Massive big chunks of buttress, and really weirdly futuristic. What is the deal with this? This is technology. So this is somebody who built a model and they took a photograph of it, and it's supposed to be the nearest thing you can see to Solomon's Temple in a photographic form. Unless they're lying and it's actually a photograph of Solomon's Temple. I do wonder, guys. I do wonder about the age of photography. Why not? I on my last post on a Flat Earth British Think
I mean, look at that. Beautiful.
Tank channel, I put up a post. 1,000. I went on Instagram at the back earlier. My son made some lovely fireworks, so we had to go with them. And a neighbour started telling me shit about the television. I told her I don't watch the television at all. And she's saying there was some sort of terrorist attacks. I'm like, well, I don't really know anything about. Makes it mud flood proof, and it also makes it flood proof. To put a building high in the air, like that. So it looks like we got some antiqua tents on fire, and he put an entire escarpment right the way around Jerusalem. But doesn't that look like British seaside or something, like a casino maybe? But it looks Italian to me. Actually, sure, but it's just.
But yeah, just a little extra. I'll give you guys a link to this video in the description down below. That's from a channel called Martin Lidke. It's really out there, guys. I only recommend it if you're into like accepting some really odd ideas and taking them for what they're worth, taking your own beliefs and just letting them go and just listening. He goes really out there, but he introduced me to this book of the True Masonry and the Universal Brother, which is the first book I could find that actually described the sound and the vibrational technology that would have been able to have been used to create some of these grand structures that we see around the world today. So it's just something to think about when you see these grand structures that were built all over the place. And he's always got beautiful pictures and a lot of stuff to show. I mean, when they explain how they built them without using this high technology, this occult technology, in the description, I will put a full PDF of that book down below so you can read it, and I will also put a link to his channel. But I will give you the full text of the Oriental Masonry book. This points to as America as being Atlantis. It points to the pyramids being the center of the earth in those times. It points to mass shifts in the earth, as we know happened over time once all the planets were connected and then slowly moved apart. But America was always known as Atlantis. America was the one that rised out of the water, and that's why you see pyramids, and that's why we see obelisks, and that's why we see a lot of things that we use that we would think are ancient Egyptian. Well, really, it's a whole different story, because we had a whole different population that inhabited this earth before all the resets that happened. The resets 13,000 years ago, the resets that probably happened in the 1800s that explain some of these buildings. But it's pretty much what I wanted to show you guys tonight. Just a little hangout. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys had a fun time. I do got a second to hang out with you guys for a second. Let me get on screen here, and let me get in the chat. If you like this stream, just leave a like. Like I said, we weren't going to hit the 300, 400 mark tonight because it was just an unannounced fun stream. But if you want to leave a like, or if you want to donate to the channel, feel free to do so. Every dollar is appreciated. Thank you to Zara Lee and Brian Bowman for the 2 donations tonight. I really, really appreciate them. Every dollar goes a long way. Where did they go or forget who they were like now? Can you explain who you mean? Where did they go? Well, there was a lot of great resets. There was a lot of cataclysms. There's a lot of changing of times, and you can't go by time as we see it. You have to go by time as being altered, almost maybe off 1,000 years in some aspects. And you have to look at things in the 1800s and think, well, this building was built in 1750, and then there was a earthquake and a cataclysm, and then all of a sudden in the 1800s we have these beautiful, amazing buildings that nobody could have ever built with horse and buggy. It's just not possible. It's not possible. Someone mentioned Mandela effect. Nothing's off the table on my channel. I think some people can experience the Mandela effect, and I think other people can't. That's how I look at it. Some people remember things for exactly what they were, and some people remember things differently. And I don't think it's just up to people's memories. I think there is something to the Mandela effect. The Crow House talked about orphan trains and kids not knowing history. Well, orphan trains, they took thousands of kids across the earth, sometimes at the behest of a single mother, and put them on trains and then use them for work in a state, miles and miles away, and forgotten knowledge. It's almost as good as occult knowledge because it's just hidden knowledge. Someone said Aztec, Egyptians, etc. I think they forgot and became someone else, like Romans bastardized Greek culture. Yeah, I have an idea that a lot of these cultures are almost the same culture and not as separate as history would want us to believe. That's just one of my opinions. These topics, you can go on for days. You have to view tinge like Trump does 4D. Things like Trump does 4D. Trump doesn't think like anything 4D, or he would have won the election. Let's see here. Exigent News says Michael Tarpon. Do you mean Michael Sarian? Jordan Maxwell. Well, Jordan Maxwell, I think, did some great work with Words Are Swords and explaining some of that maritime stuff. I think Michael Sarian did some great stuff with signs and symbolism, and I think David Icke was always a studio performer who made up lies. I think you take out the nonsense that they put into their stuff and take the words and symbols that they taught you, and you get rid of the 50% of bullshit that they're trying to push you away with. That's how I take everybody. If I can get a nugget of knowledge from somebody and the rest of their stuff is bullshit, then so be it. But I think Maxwell pretty much nailed maritime law, and I think he nailed the cornerstone and the capstone. Other than that, I don't have much to say about him. David Icke, I don't believe many people that say they had a vision and then all of a sudden started selling out mass arenas, and then also acts like they're broke. So, it's kind of hard to believe. Give me 1 second. I think let me see if a donation came in here, and then I'll let you guys get out of here, and I'll take myself to bed. Tomorrow night is the Midnight Crockpot. I Am the Highway. Says thanks for covering morons. Thanks for not covering morons in an RV or politics or just some bullshit for clicks. Have a good night, bro. For $5. Yeah. You're not going to get RV from me. And if you get politics, it's going to be a deeper look than it's rigged. Trump's playing 4D chess and he's going to, or the media is pushing Biden into. You're going to get a much deeper picture of what's really going on. And it all ties into multiple things, which include a lockdown, mass confusion, and a probably a breakout of pockets of a war, but not a civil war. Just more pockets of unrest and a slowly eroding economy and civilization, which will make us, with our debt being where it's at, I think ripe for war within 2 years with another country. My guess would be Syria. Just my guess. What's my thoughts on Mark Passio's work? Well, he's an ex-Satanist. I think his Second Amendment work is very, very well done. I think his interpretation of amendments and that kind of stuff is on point. As far as some of the occult and some of the satanic stuff and the Christianity stuff, I tend to not think of it as well as his other work. Like I said, I try not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. If I can find a twinkle of knowledge out of something and take it and learn from it, I do it. I try not to disregard anybody unless if they're just a complete piece of shit. And sometimes it takes learning about people. Sometimes you don't know and you're confused by them and they trick you. I mean, this is why grifters are really good at what they're doing. But yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out for a little bit. Like I said, nice small hangout crowd tonight. Tomorrow night, myself and Wild Smile, midnight Eastern, for the Midnight Crockpot episode number 20. Next Sunday night at 6 p.m., me and Vanessa Valentine will be getting together for another conversation, which we will be doing monthly. It'll usually be a morning show, but this time we're going to do it in the evening. She's from Melbourne, so we kind of are going to compare and contrast. We're going to talk about addiction. We're going to talk about feelings, and it's going to be a show for both men and women to watch. So it's not going to be for everybody, but it's going to be for some of my audience. So hope you guys enjoy it. And then also me and Fringe Files are doing a stream on the social dilemma, which will be coming within probably the next 2 weeks. We're working on it. It's more my fault than hers as the time's been with me being busy. But again, thank you very much. I'm so glad to have an audience that cares. I'm glad, very humbled that you guys donated some money. Every dollar helps. Every like helps. So I thank you for taking that second, leaving a like. And as always, God bless you guys. And I will see you in the next one. Have a good night, guys.